There are many challenges which a small business face. Finance is one of the critical ones. Even though multiple avenues of financing are available, it is still very challenging for small businesses to secure financing when they need the most. Since the subject is vast and there are several areas to elaborate on, we would be covering each one. Today we have Mr. Pramod Goyal. He is the CEO of Canada-wide Financial Corporation Limited, a multidisciplinary business and management consulting firm. He is also the president of Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce. The focus of today's discussion is what the lenders and or the private investors are looking for from a prospective borrower. Welcome, Mr. Pramod Goyal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Can you please elaborate about the topic in common language without using some financial jargon so that our viewers would be able to understand it?
Thank you. For sure, Nikhar. I think, as you rightly said, small businesses always have multiple challenges to run their business. And I think finance being the key is always an area where everybody struggles on. And when they seek financing, it's always a challenge to deal with the prospective lenders and the institutional financiers or even family and friends to seek financing in terms of what is to be presented and how it is to be presented. And every lender or prospective investor have their own expectation from a borrower as to what they want to see before they put their money at stake. So the first and foremost, what I would say is, in the Canadian context, what everyone looks at is a clear credit history of the individual.
A person, carrying the trade, they should have a specific qualification or not?
Is what educational background or experience, professional experience the person brings into the business that they're looking to get into. And it has to be an optimum mix. Not necessarily every individual that gets into a business has to be academically qualified for that industry. And I'll elaborate a little bit on this for better understanding for our viewers. Certain industries are, by nature itself, requires certain inputs that only if you have learned and gone through the academic course you would be able to deliver. Say, for example, if you are talking about a business which is involving high technology, IT, information technology, or anything that is specific to a particular trade, experience in running similar businesses. So to answer your question specifically, whether they would have an academic qualification, it's not necessary for every business, but yes, certain businesses, it's a must.
What is the next more critical thing which you think is?
Is a sort of business plan for your business. They want to really know whether you understand the business in totality as to what you're getting in, what you foresee in the short term and long term. So they would expect you to give them all the information, the numbers as to what the budget outlay is for the business, how much money you would be bringing into the table, what is the other source of borrowing that you're looking at, how do you intend to repay, how the business will progress, and things like that. And certain areas could be very critical in the sense that they would differentiate whether you actually know the business or not in terms of like how would you repay. So whether your expense and income would match with what you're projecting, and whether they're in line with the latest historical data that you see in the industry. So it has to be relevant, it should be practical. So that is where they would lay a lot of emphasis on whether your numbers are up to date, whether you know the business that you intend to run. So that becomes a critical base for their evaluation to decide whether they would be comfortable in lending money to that business or not.
But there might be quite a few people who are not able to put up their business plan.
And yes, not everybody is comfortable with the financial numbers or putting up the business plan together. So I think what they need to do is they should at least know what they're getting in rough terms, and then they can sit with their accountant or any other advisor that they're dealing with, or a business consultant who can help to put those things together in terms of a business plan. So that, but the information, the actual business sense has to come from the borrower, and all these professionals would be able to put it together so that it can be presented to the prospective lender.
And any other important point would you like to tell us?
Yes, of course. I mean, there are other several areas that lenders want to see or investors want to see. I think what I personally feel one of the other critical areas is again your own relationship when you deal with individuals. So I think that also plays a very critical part. I've seen during my entire career in the financial service industry. Your own personal relationship and rapport that you built with the prospective individual is key. And that, when I say that, that would involve not necessarily that you have a past relationship with a banker or an investor, but even if it's a new relationship, when you are getting into that relationship, as to how you behave, how you come across, like whether it is maintaining your appointments on time, whether you are being upfront in sharing the information, whether you are able to provide all the information that is required in a timely manner and concise manner. So that is how you would basically build that relationship, and that shows how much dedicated, how much serious you are about the business itself. If you slack for some reason, if you don't maintain your appointments, if you don't provide information on time, that could possibly also be a signal to them that, okay, it's not a priority or you don't care unless there are exceptional circumstances. So I think it is very important.
And how about we summarize the key points from our discussion?
As I explained, so one of the key areas, the first one we started with is having a good credit history. So that is key. If for any reason your credit history has been tinted, then at least you need to fix it. So that was the first one. The second one I think we talked about was bringing in expert education and professional experience into the business that you're getting in. So that also helps. Third, of course, is the business plan, which tells all the numbers, ins and outs of how you would run your business and how the profitability would be maintained. And the fourth was the relationship aspect that we talked about, that yes, you need to maintain a very positive and healthy relationship, because that is going to help you as you progress in your business.
Since you have spent 20 plus years in this industry, what would you like to share with our viewers? Like whether one should approach the investor or lenders directly, or they should seek professional help from people like you?
So again, it's an individual approach. And as we were discussing, if an individual is comfortable, they know the nuances, then I would suggest that yes, they should always deal with the respective banks or the lenders directly. But if for any reason they are not comfortable or they have no experience in dealing in the past, so instead of spending time going back and forth, I would suggest that they should seek professional advice. It could be anybody, but who have experience in that field. So it could be their accountant if they're dealing with one. It could be a lawyer who deals with business stuff and they are comfortable with. It could be their advisor or a business consultant that they can have access to. By engaging a professional, they can also give you tips. They can help you put things in the right perspective. It makes it more presentable to the lender, and then it helps you ultimately in achieving the goal of securing that financing, which is very, very critical to your business. It's like, when you seek your medical treatment for any illness, for example, so you will always try to get to the best doctor possible or best surgeon possible because you don't want to take chance. So similarly here, it is your lifeline or it is your business, and finance becomes the lifeline, I would say, for your business. So you want to make sure that what you do is perfect and you don't take chances into it, because If it gets declined, then it's again another hurdle. So I would suggest, depending on your comfort zone, you take that decision.
Thank you, Mr. Pramod. I'm sure our viewers will benefit from these tips.
Thank you, Nikha. Thank you for having me.
For further information, please contact Mr. Pramod Goyal. Continuing our discussions on challenges faced by small businesses in Canada, stay tuned for another interesting topic in our next episode. Keep watching Voice News Network, VNN Canada.